before we started, but yeah, I've been following your work for many years, and
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
I'm so glad that they're finally putting together an art book with
Yes.
your cover art and stuff that you're doing over at Marvel Comics. So that's really cool. And so a big thank you to Curtis and Hank and everybody over at Clover Press for making this happen.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you first decide that you wanted to be in comics? Like you wanted to make comics your life. How did that journey begin? What was it that you saw or read that you were like, I want to do this?
Yeah. I've told the story in a few different ways, but the way I remember it is, I'm about 13 years old. Maybe you had a similar experience because we just found out a second ago that we're exactly the same age.
Same age.
So around age 13, comics are, the early 90s, comics are getting real hot. And, no one was hotter than Jim Lee on X-Men or Liefeld on X-Force or, McFarlane on Spider-Man. And Image was just about to, happen a few years later. Anyway, I'm just an artistic kid, and all my neighbors are reading comics, and I wasn't quite there yet. But I was drawing like my own terrible levels for 8-bit Mega Man and stuff like that. I was just kind of looking for an artistic outlet,
Oh,
not to date
wait,
myself too much.
let's just stop talking about everything else because you just spoke my language. Did you say 8-bit Mega
Yes.
Man? Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
I would do the same, man. I would make my
you know,
levels and my bosses. That's awesome.
I totally did that. Yeah, and it's funny. Like, I was doing it in math class, and I recently saw one of my old teachers, and he was like, "Yeah, I used to draw like all the time in class, and now I tell this is like 30 years later. He's like, now I tell the kids who do that, go ahead and do it because uh, I had a kid, meaning me, who ended up being real successful doing doodles, So yay, it worked out for this doodler at any rate. But to answer the question, once I saw that Jim Lee X-Men stuff, I was like, "What is this? Where has this been all my life? I didn't know comics could look like this." I was like completely, like immediately captured and sucked in, and I had my dad like start taking me to comic book stores and just learning everything about comics, buying all kinds of Marvel and DC books, just really getting into it completely. And it was something I never look back from. I'm still like a Wednesday warrior, and I still read the books and love them, and just as much enjoy creating stuff for the comics market.
So, was there a particular issue of X-Men by Jim Lee, or was it the covers? What was it that drew you in?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. So at first it was just sort of in general comics, whatever. But the particular one was that first, my neighbor had this copy of, I can't remember these. I can never remember the exact issue number. It was Uncanny, the first Uncanny issue for the Extinction Agenda, where Havoc is shooting his energy up into the sky, and the
270.
robot walkers. 270.
Yeah, I got you.
Nice,
Me,
thank you.
Kenny Omar.
Yeah, who are you talking to? Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
And I when I started getting my own comics, it was a little later, like the first one I purchased was like 278, which was this issue that was split between like a dozen different great artists. But yeah, that I was in time to be there for the Jim Lee run and was able to go back and quickly get the ones I'd missed.
Oh man, yeah, what a great gosh, that whole era like will forever be in my brain, like as in my heart as the best era of comics. Like growing up in comics, like
Yep.
80s and 90s. Oh my gosh, it never got better than that. And
Nope.
I think most people say that about whatever era they grew up reading comics.
Yeah, likewise, I would be so curious. Like, are people growing up now going, man, the Pepe Larraz era, like that's the stuff. Nothing will ever beat that. I can imagine that that's the case, but for me,
Well,
it was the Jim Lee stuff.
absolutely, absolutely, man. Like think about like 20 years from now when people are like, it was that David Nakayama cover.
Yeah,
Dude, that
right.
did it.
Wouldn't
That
that
did
be
it. That
nice?
I bet you. I bet you in 20 not even that long. Not even that long, brother. In just a couple years time, you're going to be hearing that at conventions and people are like, "Let me tell you, man, this is why I'm drawing because of you." It's going to that's
Thank you.
wonderful. Art inspiring art. I love it. I love it. So, once you decided that,
Hmm.
what route did you go? Did you go self-taught art or did you
Hmm.
go, no, I'm actually going to go to get, learn how to
Right.
do this?
Well, that's the funny thing, right? Like once you decide it, then there's this quandary that happens. Like my parents and my family are doctors and teachers and that kind of thing, and nobody's creative artistic at all. So I'm like, hey, I love this thing. Now what? Like, how am I going to learn or progress or do anything? And occasionally someone would give me some comics as a Christmas present, but no one really knew how to support me. So it was on me. And I remember going to every library on this island. I live on the island of Oahu in Hawaii. Went to every library, checked out every single book about art, just trying to figure out like how do I learn? What do I do? And it was a struggle, to start from nothing with no help. I can tell you exactly the right book now. It took me years to figure it out, but Andrew Loomis's Figure Drawing for All It's Worth is the Bible. It's the
Yeah,
only book
a lot of people.
anybody ever needs to
Mhm.
learn, figure drawing and perspective and anatomy. It's all right there in that one book. People ask me this all the time. That's the book. That's the only one that you need. But anyway, eventually, I figured it out, and I had to, even through high school, through college, I was like doing my own comics, and I started a comic club, and I created a class in college where I just all I was doing was just like practicing anatomy, and they gave me credit for it. So I was just trying everything I could all along, best of my ability, to teach myself this
Mhm.
stuff.
Did you look at like panel layouts of certain comics or anime or manga, like to see how they did it differently?
I wasn't worried about that. I was so aware that my anatomy skills, just basic figure drawing, were not there,
Mhm.
and I knew from the beginning that it would take years to master. I was very honest with myself. Like in high school, I was like, yeah, this is going to take years to somehow unlock this skill. And that's true. It does. But I was just worried about getting the human anatomy first and foremost. 90% of my concern was about that. And once I got to comics, I was just like, whatever, panel layout, I can figure this out. This isn't that hard. And that wasn't the big struggle for me. Once I had human anatomy, then I felt like the rest of it could kind of fill in around it. And maybe to this day, you can probably see like that's what I care the most about is like drawing characters. Like I love going to town on the details of one particular character, or if it's a group, like all of them, whatever. But you can tell that I'm a character focused artist first, and that's always been true.
Okay. So then I have to ask about the you went to the Kubert school, right?
That's true. Yes, I did.
Okay, so how did your parents react to that? Were they supportive? Like, hey, yeah, go follow your dream, or what?
My parents were fantastic. Like I
Awesome.
said, they knew nothing about this stuff, and they didn't exactly know how to advise me. But I'll tell you what, like they were fully supportive all along the way. So I was like, "Hey, mom and dad, I heard this thing called San Diego Comic Con is really cool and important, and I need to be there."
Word.
And they're like, "Okay, we can make that happen." Or alternatively, I spent 2 summers by myself going to art school at the Academy of Art College to try to pick up different art skills, and they let that happen. So I was like in a dorm by myself during high school. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like my parents were really cool and let me do a bunch of crazy stuff to try to get these skills. And as a parent now, I have a kid who's interested in aviation, which I know nothing about, but I'm trying to do that same thing for him and let him, explore his crazy thing that I don't understand.
Well, I think that's wonderful, right? I think as parents, my parents have no idea how YouTube or the internet works or how I do this for a living, but they watch every single one of my videos, and they're the
Oh,
most
that's so
supportive
nice.
people. And yeah, like so, I feel that, man. I feel that, and I think it's really cool that they were like, yeah, we'll make it happen because that's what good parents do. All right, if it's in your means, right? Because not everybody can go from Hawaii to San Diego Comic Con because well, no, you're flying that
True.
way. Never mind.
I, I totally agree with that. Yes.
Now, when you're there at the school, so this gets you closer to what you want to do. This is comics, right? Like this is the school to go to. How long are you
Yeah.
there for, and how did that work? Like, are we talking regular college hours, like
Mhm.
a semester, and how long were you there?
I was there full time for 2 years.
Mhm.
By this point, I had a degree, actually a 4-year degree from university, in what they call visual communications. So it was a combination of illustration, marketing, and graphic design. And
Mhm.
at the time, I'm just hating it. I was like, what am I going to do with these graphic design skills? Flash forward to now, I do covers like the Hellfire Gala thing where I have to make a faux magazine, and that's all it's about. So they were right. But
I
that being,
just I just saw your Mystique cover. Oh my gosh, that thing is amazing, dude. That thing
thank
is
you.
amazing.
Thank you. So everything we learn ends up being handy someday. But at the time, I was thinking, how come I can't? Where can I go to learn comics? I'm just not there yet. I'm not good enough. And
Mhm.
so after university, I did 2 years at the Kubert School with that goal in mind, trying to hone in on comics. You know, and I remember feeling at the time like this is taking a long time to make this dream happen. I'm starting to get nervous. Like, is this it? If I get through this thing and I still don't have a job, maybe it's time to go to med school or something. But uh, I
Mhm.
remember feeling pretty locked in, pretty dedicated. I wanted to make this thing work because I felt like time was limited. So yeah, 2 years, and it wasn't lost on me what a great opportunity it was. At the time, you had both Kubert brothers, Adam and Andy, were teaching classes at the school. That's incredible. That was an unbelievable opportunity that I was aware was incredible at the time.
So did you
And
have them, like, for
yeah,
classes?
yeah, like we would be in class with these goddamn legends, and they would be telling you stuff,
That's so
and they'd
awesome.
be marking up your pages like, no, do this, do that. Among many other great teachers there, but it was a good experience, and you get what you put in. But I was committed, and I put in a lot. And the only reason I left before the third year was because I got this Top Cow internship opportunity. And I before I took it, I made sure I didn't feel right leaving the school until I talked with Mr. Joe Kubert himself, and I basically asked for his permission. I said, "Sir, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't really want to leave the school until I am. What would you do in this situation? Do I have your blessing to leave?" And he said yes. He gave me that blessing, and I felt good to go take a jump.
That's man, that is so cool. Uh, I to get to talk to them like, they are your teachers and mentors too. And Joe, my goodness, he was such a legend, or is a legend. Um,
Yeah. I can't
and
explain how nervous I felt
I can
being
imagine.
being in this man's presence. It was pretty remarkable.
And
I've
to
rarely had
tell
felt that.
him that you're leaving to follow an internship and to get his blessings, that's so cool.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's what I did.
so Mark Silvestri, huh? They took an interest in you. Was it a contest or something? How did you get involved with Top Cow then?
Yeah, that was what it was. It was through Wizard Magazine, and Top Cow. Was just trying to bring in new talent, new pencilers, inkers, and colorists. They had different categories for each. I came in, as a penciling intern, and there were already other artists sort of interning at the same time, like names you would know, like Tyler Kirkham,
Mhm.
and Mike Choi and Eric Basildua were also there interning to different degrees. Some of them were further into being on published books than others, but all of us were there at the same time for a couple of years, and we were doing the late night shift with Mark Silvestri himself. Of course, you wanted to have as much time as possible and get as much wisdom as you could from the master. So yeah, I mean, it's funny. Like the way I'm talking right now, I'm kind of realizing I had a lot of lucky breaks being in the presence of absolute masters. Not everyone gets to do that, so I think if I'm successful, it's because I had some lucky breaks. Learning from really talented people.
But okay. I will say this: you yourself are super talented, though. Like
Thank you, bro.
it takes hard work. Luck, sure, that has something to do with it, but also talent, and a lot of that comes from the hard work that you put into it. You have mentioned Joe Kubert and you mentioned Mark Silvestri, and I will tell you this. This is how I don't know if anybody has told you this or if you even realize this, but looking at your art,
Mhm.
it stands on its own. It's not like, you can always tell like Lee Weeks or somebody like Ron Garney, like there's different that influence there, like, or even those
Right.
masters themselves were influenced by other artists like Adam and Andy.
Yep.
Uh, or Silvestri when you mentioned Tyler, right? Like you can definitely tell there's that influence there. But you coming with this amalgam, like it just kind of it doesn't even feel like an amalgam because it's kind of like your own thing. It's wonderful, man.
Thank you.
Seriously.
I'm really glad you think so. To me, like, it's funny because the altar I was always worshiping at, at the Cupid School, the artist that I had pinned up above my art desk was J. Scott Campbell. We talked a little before the show about how important Campbell has been to my artistic journey. But in my head, I'm a combination of, well, I'm trying to be, as expressive and colorful as Campbell, and as lushly drafted as Adam Hughes. He's number 2 on my Mount Rushmore.
Okay. I can see that. I can see that.
I pull a few, Art Nouveau by way of Adam Hughes tricks. I'm sure you can tell. And then the third leg is I spent 12 years in video games learning how to digitally paint. So when you smush all those things together, that's where I'm coming from. And I always tell young artists, like, don't be afraid to fully copy your favorite artists, because at the end of the day, like, your tastes are different and unique. And the different things that you pull into your stew are automatically going to make you different. No matter how directly you copy one or the other, it's just going to get filtered in a different way through your brain. So what you see in my work, I think, is a combination of those 3 tent poles, but also I feel like, like the Kubert brothers or Mark Silvestri or whoever, or Jim Lee, all these people have had an effect on me over the years.
Okay, that is fair, right? Like, people do have effects on you, and you certainly can, and probably subconsciously, borrow things. But I didn't see the Kubert brothers or Mark Silvestri do any kind of Marvel versus Capcom homage covers, dude. Oh my gosh, I hate you so much. I'm a collected editions guy. And I saw those at a friend's house, and I said, "What are those?" Because I thought they were Udon covers, right? They were like, "Oh no, man, this is like Hellions," and I'm like, "What?"
Thank you.
Let me see that. And yes, oh my gosh.
I'm glad you like them. I feel like we need to make more of them. But the good news is that there's a new one coming out really soon, October. It's a X-Men and Avengers 60th anniversary wraparound cover yeah, and it's like a double-sized one. You know how the other ones were like landscapes and they were smaller? This is like a double cover with Wolverine versus Cap and like the little tagging characters on the top. But yeah, look for that. Like, I think next month on an Uncanny Avengers issue.
This is the home of collected editions. David, what are you doing? What are you doing,
one
man?
cover, it won't break the bank.
Yeah, I know, but then if I get that, I gotta go get the rest of them, and then I'm
There's only 4.
Like my buddy Jess, who has a David Nakayama spin rack of all your variant covers of all the ladies.
God. I love that person. Thank you.
Oh, he loves your art.
Don't get interested in my color bleed covers. There's about 30 of those.
Oh, gosh. And those are wonderful too. So Top Cow, Kubert, how did Marvel? Okay, actually, no. Let's backtrack a little bit, because you did some. Because I know most people that are probably here right now, and most people watching this later are probably like, "Oh, David Nakayama, I love his covers." But you've done some internal artwork before. Yeah, it's Star Wars, right? I think that was your very first one. We talked a little bit about that before.
Yeah, I mean, that was like a 5-pager or 6-pager. I can't remember. But yeah, actually, people ask me all the time, like, when are you going to do interiors? And I did interiors for years, and I don't recommend that you look at any of them because they're a different style. There's a different person almost.
Okay.
Except Big Hero 6. Go ahead and look at Big Hero 6. I'm still proud of it.
Yes, the Chris Claremont, Big Hero 6. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, amazing, right? Yeah, I did it for many years. I did a couple of graphic novels. I did City of Heroes for a year. I did Hulk, All Ages Hulk for Marvel for over a year. I did, Big Hero 6 for 6 issues or 5 issues, I think. Anyway, I did it for quite a few years, and then I didn't have the best time doing it. It wasn't what I dreamed it would be, like when I was a kid. Since I was kind of describing to you earlier how, like, when I was 13 years old, all I ever wanted to do was be a comic artist, and then I achieved that. But what happens, and what I didn't realize is, for me at least, I worked with some talented inkers and colorists, but I also worked with some that diminished the artwork. I would slave all month doing pencils, and then by the time it got filtered through other people's work, I didn't even recognize it anymore, and I just felt sad, right? And about that time, I kind of got pulled into video games for quite a number of years, and you know, I started thinking, well, how I love comics. I didn't really love what happened when I was an interior penciler, but how can I still be in comics? You know, what can I do? And I hit on covers, right? Because I was learning to digitally paint in games,
Okay.
and I still love comics. So even though I spent 12 years in games, 5 years into games, I already felt the urge to come back to comics, and I started calling my old editors like, hey, how about some covers? How would you feel if I did some covers? I would love to do that. And thank you, Jordan White, for making that happen.
So it was a phone call, not burning any bridges, making connections,
Yeah,
and remembering your love of comics that eventually got
absolutely.
us. And it came almost full circle, brother, because you did that wonderful homage to the Jim Lee swimsuit. Just I think just recently, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I remember
that's
seeing
brand
it,
new.
and that's one that I would almost caved into. I was like, no, that will be collected somewhere, I'm sure. Oh, but they're just so pretty to look at. My gosh.
Well,
Um,
you got to understand, like we spoke a little bit about how much Jim Lee was influential to me even doing this. Like my interest in comics and my interest in art go right through Jim Lee. And so I am always very nervous to homage anything by my heroes, and I take it very seriously when I do. So something as iconic as that piece, I mean, I knew I was going to be very careful trying to keep it, everything that was, I want you to look at it and go, that is Jim Lee's, that was inspired by Jim Lee, right? That's
okay.
what we're doing here, is we're acknowledging the greatness of this piece. But then I also wanted to uh, evolve the character relationships forward. So if you go back and look at that original piece, like Rogue is sort of sad in the middle, she's alone, and Gambit is kind of macking on a couple of ladies in the corner, and you
Yeah,
know
yeah.
these days they're happily married. So I was like, I want to reflect that, like in my version. So if you compare the two, that's the kind of stuff that changed.
And I love the fact that you added what's her name? Is it Rasputin?
Rasputin.
Yeah, because she's got the sword, right? Instead of Colossus, who was flexing in the background in the original.
Right. Yeah, why not, right? It's there are all these great new characters, and you know you can include some, but I mean there are way more great characters than I could possibly fit into that image. But I did what I could to bring in some sense of you know what has happened in X-Men in the last 25 years.
And a lot has happened, so much so that you replace like Psylocke when we were kids, right? With Emma Frost, who is now to a whole different generation, has been an X-Men. She's never been a villain, right? It's so
Right.
different.
Well, right. But so that was a tough one for me because I adore Psylocke. Like I have a big crush on Psylocke. I didn't want to necessarily remove her from that image, but this is a Hellfire magazine cover, and Emma's this is Hellfire Gala,
Right.
uh, and she is in many ways the heart of X-Men right now. So everything pointed toward the fact that it had to be Emma in that prime position. It would feel a little bit strange if it was still Psylocke in the prime position, given where the storyline is right now. So
Mhm.
I felt like I had to, but I did feel weird about it.
Dude, X-Men number 8, when she comes out of the water in that bathing suit, Jim Lee. I
I
I don't know how
mean,
many times I've talked about like that issue. And
that stuff was formative and unforgettable, right? Like
yes.
I thought that stuff was kind of amazing. So more swimsuit stuff, Marvel. Let's do it.
Oh my gosh. You know how many of my viewers would love that? We've always talked because I get to announce the Omnis. Like they're like, when are you gonna announce the Marvel swimsuit omnibus?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep. I mean,
There's definitely enough material. That's for sure.
maybe we'll get back there. But Marvel hasn't forgotten how to have fun. So like, first of all, they absolutely approved us to do the X-Men poolside homage.
Mhm.
Uh, it's approved. It's ready. It's an official product. And at the same time, soon to be revealed, we have. I maybe saw the Ski Chalet covers that got released a couple of days ago, maybe less than a week ago. You know what I'm talking about? It's a variant cover series with the characters having fun in the
Oh
on the
yeah.
snow.
Mhm.
Okay, so I've got one that is done, and they have yet to release, and I think Campbell's got one too. But those are very fun, sexy covers, and I hope people will like mine. Look forward
I
to that.
I think so. I think so. I think yeah. So there was I was seeing some comments about your ladies, your Emma. So very nice. I was a big fan of that Psylocke you did. I think it was was it a gala? I think it might have been a gala variant cover.
Yeah.
And then the one that I just saw with Mystique. Wow, that
Thank you.
is gorgeous, man.
Thank you.
And how cool is it that okay, so you went to video games, right? And that's something that I remember Jeffrey Scott Campbell wanting to do forever. We talked a little bit beforehand because of the Nintendo Power magazine. They had a contest of like design your own video games, and I was so
Yeah.
excited about that. And then yeah, we all lost out to Jeffrey Scott Campbell, who won.
Yep.
And really cool that you liked his art so much, and then you actually got to work in the video game industry for a while.
Yep. I gave that a good 12 years, although I was doing comics on the side for 7 of them. No, I mean, I still want to be J. Scott Campbell when I grow up. He has done like amazing things with the statues, and they did make a Danger Girl video game.
Yep,
It's
they did.
just he did some kind of gallery art for Disney. Like his career is so amazing. It's just like all these bucket list things that I think a lot of us would kill to do. So yeah, still, I think he's just the most impressive that there's ever been. I would love to have more opportunities like that.
And to kind of bring it all together, man, he's doing the forward for this book.
Can you believe it? I can't. I still can't believe it. It's
I I think
talk
that's
about bucket
wonderful.
list. Yeah, it's remarkable because the Clover Press guys were like, "Hey,
This book, how
it's
it all
time."
kind of came together.
Oh, hi, still there? Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. You didn't drop
Yes,
out.
I can hear you.
Did I drop out? Hello? You still there?
Um, no, you didn't. I am. I am. Are you?
I'm getting you. Yep. Oh, you are actually breaking up a little bit. Hmm. Oh, you're frozen now. Uh-oh. Wonder what happened.
I am sorry, everybody. We were having internet connections. So I would love to continue this interview with David Nakayama at some other time. But yeah, something just happened here and I lost all kinds of connections. So sorry. So I'm just saying bye for now because I'm sure David didn't want to wait 10 minutes. So let me see if, well, actually, let me see if he'll jump back on. Let me see if he'll jump back on. In the meantime, what is everybody's favorite David Nakayama cover? Let me know in the chat right now. All right, let me see. I just sent him an email. So hopefully he'll be able to jump back in. If not, I'll end it here. So yeah, let me know what your favorite David Nakayama piece is. And I was right in the middle of asking him something important too. The leak cookies and free start. No, it's not that. It's the modem. I don't know why AT&T can't get this fixed. So let me get him back in here. He's kind enough to join me again. David, I'm so sorry about that.
Hi. Was it you? Was it me? I don't know what happened, but here I am.
It wasn't us. It was AT&T. So let's just blame
it. Well, I sometimes my connection cut out. I wasn't sure, but anyway, here I am.
Yeah. So I was asking about this project that you were working on, and that is the one from Clover Press. So the marble art of David Nakayama. So two things, right? Really cool that your name is on a cover. Like this is a David Nakayama book. You've seen your covers. You've seen your art. It's one thing. This is different. This is like marble, David Nakayama, same title. That's awesome, man.
It's pretty crazy, yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, I think you know, from my perspective, I was honestly I was just about to pull the trigger on our own homebrew sketchbook. You know, me and my retailer partner, we were gonna maybe cook something up on our own and start having that at comic shows. And then at exactly that time, Clover Press writes, and it's it's Hank Canals, and it's it's Betty Choi, and like these people I know and respect and work with, and I was like, wow, you're saying you have this, the Marvel license to make art books, and I can be in there? Really? Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, I definitely want to do that. So it just came about at exactly the right time. I was pursuing something similar on my own, and they just came along with so much better than I could possibly do. Like if you go look at our Kickstarter right now, this is a premium hardcover coffee table book with all the bells and whistles. It's got the dust jacket and the slipcover, and we're offering stickers and our portfolio set and a trading card. And it's like I would not have been doing all of that on my own. So this is going to be way more deluxe and cool than anything I could have come up with, homebrew.
And if you are interested in checking out the Kickstarter that David is talking about, we do have a link in the description of the video for you to check out.
Thank you.
It's an amazing looking book.
And only 2 more days. Only 48 hours to go, probably by the, who knows when this video or podcast rather goes out. I don't know when, but at this point right now in real life, there's about 50 hours to go.
Well, at this point in real life is exactly what we're doing. So
perfect.
It is live.
Hours.
Yeah.
Go get it right now, quick.
So there's the options without the dust jacket. Then there's the marble art portfolio of David Nakayama. These are hardcovers. There's one with the dust jacket, and there's one with a beautiful slipcase. And there's a signed slipcase edition, and then with your portfolio. So there's all kinds of options for people out there. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
There's also one with your original art, right? Like there's a commissioned original art option, I think.
Well, there were. Apparently those sold out in like 6 minutes. From what they told me. I didn't offer that many. These are time-consuming things. Yeah. I offered a small number of original commissions, but at least some people will get some. And then we offered a larger number of remarks, and those went quickly too. We offered some new remarks. I am not sure if those have all sold out yet, but probably. Definitely, we're offering more signed editions. Those should still be available. But yeah, you can get it all different ways. Certainly signed, maybe remark. Obviously, if you buy the book, you bring it to me at a convention sometime in the future, we can add the remark. It's no problem. But
Okay, so somebody was asking,
yeah.
my buddy Manny, could you ask David if he will have a print available next week at New York Comic Con?
I'm not sure which one he means, but we will absolutely have a lot of prints. My good pals, Unknown Comics, bring lots of different ones. I want to say about 30 or 40 different choices, all different things, including some new things we're having printed up just for this show, along with we have New York Comic Con exclusives, of course, and they went real big this year. We have 4 different New York Comic Con exclusive foil comics available only at that show. Wonder Woman 1, the poolside X-Men we were talking about, and more. Yeah, like really good ones. I'm so excited.
I don't need I'm going to be at New York Comic Con. I'll come by.
All right. Will you? Good. Come say hi in person. Yeah, that'll be great.
Of course I will. And then I'll buy your foil freaking cover, and then that's all she wrote. Then I'll have to get the rest of them. Oh my gosh, you do those video game ones. I'm there, dude. Oh my gosh. Those are awesome. Sorry, meant to put prints. Okay. Yes, he will have prints there, Manny.
Yes.
All kinds of prints.
Prints and every exclusive comic I've ever done, more or less, with Unknown Comics, which is most of them. Mm-hmm. And of course, you're welcome to bring anything at all that you might have of mine, and I'll be signing and remarking quite a bit throughout the long weekend.
Yeah, 4 days. Can't wait to get to talk to you up there, man.
That'll be great. I didn't realize you were going to be at the show, but it would be wonderful to meet you in person.
Yeah, but I figured with the Kickstarter ending here in a couple of days, I told Curtis, let's just go ahead and do the interview now, because we were thinking, well, how about afterwards? And I'm like, yeah, but it'd be really cool to do it before, and then maybe love to have you back on when it comes out. That would be awesome too, to see physical copies of it. That'd be great.
Oh man, wait.
So they decided to do it, and Marvel gave them their blessing. So it's original Marvel art. Now in here, are we able to find things like sketchbooks or concept art or anything like that, or is it just finished art that's in here?
It's all finished art, and there's a couple reasons for that. One is that this is the only collected edition I've ever had of any kind, not even homebrew stuff. This is it, the only collected book. And so we have, there are about 500 images to choose from, and they're not all going to fit in this book.
Volume 2.
Yeah, just a very short book. So it's going to be tough already to cut down the number of things that are in here. I don't think I would want to waste the space on sketches when you could have full finished covers, number one. Number two, I don't sketch ever. I don't keep a sketchbook. The sketches I make for editors are god-awful, crappy, chicken scratch. You can go see what they look like on my ArtStation if you really want to know. But they're nothing impressive. It's nothing worth talking about. In Adam Hughes' art book, he spent some time showing sketches and talking about the process. But I have no such interesting stories to tell. Everything that happens that's good in my stuff happens along the way as I'm painting it.
You are a machine. That's crazy. You don't have any time to waste on sketches. Wow, that is talent. That's talent, brother.
For better or worse.
Did I hear you right? Did you say 500?
Yeah. Okay. If you count up all the Marvel covers, the Hasbro illustrations, the video game illustrations, if you count all those up, it's about 500 to choose from.
Do you ever think about that? Like, you ever think, wow, that's
not until we started putting this book together.
And that's just part of what you've done. Like, not all across the board, because Dynamite and then DC now for the last couple of years.
Right. Yeah. I'm old. I've been doing it a while.
You don't look it, man. You don't look it. Okay, I gotta ask then, because you have a She-Hulk image behind you. Is that gonna be in the book?
She-Hulk image behind me. What's behind me? I don't even know.
I hope it's something that.
Oh no! I didn't realize that was even there. But that is John Boy Myers gave me some of his prints at a show.
Oh, okay.
Nice guy. Can you believe it? He just gave me a bunch of prints because he knows I like his stuff. So, but yeah, that's what you're seeing back there.
Okay. Okay. All right. This is a really good question because you've done 500. What's your favorite cover you've done?
See, that's always the impossible question, right? Like, because what I think is my best cover, maybe I'll put that out in the world, and then the reaction will be what it is, right? Like, it might be, yeah, that's the best cover you've ever done. You were right, or it might just equally be, nah, we don't really love it. 5 likes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I cannot have my opinion is based on what the audience thinks is what I'm trying to say. Like it's a partnership between I make something, I put it out in the world, and then the world decides whether it's worth anything or not. So a lot of my opinion is colored by that. And so with that in mind, if I go back and look at all these things, one critical image that was a big deal to me in my career and the fans seem to really highlight it is I did this thing for Strange Academy #6 with Scarlet Witch on an all red background, and I just thought, oh,
Oh,
this could be
yeah.
cool graphic design, right? This will be fun. This will be different, and it made such a splash, unexpectedly so, that it sort of derailed all these other plans that I had to make this series or that series, and instead the fans just wanted that, but for a lot of other characters too, and we still to this day make these things that I call color bleeds. It's just one of the themes I do that people seem to like about. So again, it's not just like what I'm into, although I really do enjoy making them. It's about like what do the fans want, and I'm very happy to give that to them.
That yeah, because I've seen a lot of like the Polaris, and then I think you did it. Was it Mystique that you did the blue?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the one that kicked it off.
The original one was that Scarlet Witch one I'm talking about, and the reason
Mhm.
that the cover of my new art book is a similar Scarlet Witch on red is, I guess, because of the historical importance of the original one. I was trying to, I guess I was saying like, hey, this was a really big deal to me. I'm going to make a new one like that, and it'll be the cover of my art book. That's how important and influential it was.
Mhm. Okay, so I gotta ask about the portfolio. So
Hmm.
what is this portfolio that's also part of the Kickstarter?
Yeah. So what's cool about that is there's no legal or good way to send prints through the mail. Like, I, like I can sell a print at at a Comic Con, but I can't like make a web store that sells, Marvel characters on a print or T-shirts with Marvel characters and sell that stuff through the mail. That's really like borderline gray area. They could cease and desist that kind of stuff, right? So I don't
Mhm.
want to go there. But what's cool about this opportunity, for the first time ever, this print portfolio, you can order this thing, and official Marvel prints by me will get mailed to your doorstep. Like, we've never been able to offer that before. So to me, it's just so exciting that we can actually send you officially prints. You can order them, at least for the next 2 days, over this Kickstarter, and people can get their prints through the mail. You can't go to a Comic Con, no problem. Order from my Kickstarter and get these prints while you can.
That's huge for a lot of people because not everybody has, you know, the ability to go to these conventions and also stand in
But
line. And then sometimes the print that they want is gone. So that's very important about this, the last couple of days of the Kickstarter. So,
Yep.
because the other thing I was going to say is this book will be available in retail stores. However, the extra stuff will not be. And I think that's very important to a lot of people when they see this. Uh, they're like, oh, I'll just wait for the retail. I'll get it through cheap graphic novels or in stock trades or wherever or Amazon. But
Well,
that
so
stuff won't
so
have. Go
there's
ahead.
no guarantee of that. Like all we're saying right now is it's a Kickstarter. You
Oh,
know,
okay.
we're offering this over Kickstarter. I would I love it if it's available in some future date, of course, but that's not something that they've said. So yeah, that cannot be counted on. For now, if you want this thing, you got to get it over the Kickstarter. Uh-oh, you're mute. I can't hear you now. Uh-oh. Can you hear me? Oh no, is it cutting out again? Yeah, you're mute, man. I'll log out and then come back in. Hello. Hello. Can't hear you. It's mute. Yeah. I wonder why you can't hear me. My mic is on. My camera's on. Looking at your chat. Yes. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, so what I'm hearing is that I can be heard, but the host can't be heard. So through chat, we decided we're going to wrap it up. And if you can hear me, I just wanted to say thank you for having me on the show. Thank you so much for following my work. Very excited about the Kickstarter. You can see the link to it in my bio on Instagram and every other social media. And just really glad to be here. Thank you guys so much. And we'll see you next time. Aloha from Hawaii.